During this global crisis, we've all had to improvise a bit. And for some, this new normal is anything but ordinary. But still, some are using these dark days to create some bright bulb ideas, in some cases capable of illuminating the world.
It's been said necessity is the mother of invention. So perhaps quarantine is the father of creativity? And this father of two girls in the United Kingdom refused to let the coronavirus stop his girls from skiing. So many physically stuck at home while their imaginations run wild, concocting quarantine creations to ward off boredom. And how about this example of if you build it, they will come? Starbucks, anyone?
She already knows, like Starbucks, she gets her cake pop.
Socializing while maintaining distance. We are a creative bunch. Travel plans canceled? How about a new spin on a staycation? Virtual reality is 2020's ultimate getaway. While I'm running in my basement, my mind is in Hawaii. With all this time at home, some pets are actually fed up. At the University of Wisconsin-Madison, robots on wheels zip around campus, delivering food to students to minimize interaction. Here in New York, a team of volunteers known as Invisible Hands run errands for those who must stay indoors.
Hi, ma'am. So thanks for your prescription there. Of course, no worries. It's been a communal experience for all of us facing this crisis.
Creativity is also leading to some interesting choices, all in the name of trying to stay safe.
Going in.
The shortage of masks is a real threat, a challenge fashion designer Christian Siriano realized he could tackle head-on, enlisting his team to manufacture thousands of cloth masks.
We make clothes every day, well, we can make masks every day. So it was really a simple thing.
Now Louis Vuitton is among the many designers stepping up to help. With those critical N95 masks running low, especially in Florida, Dr. Bruce Spies realized he could help some healthcare workers with material that's found in every hospital.
We're throwing away all this wonderful material that's right in front of our eyes.
With that blue fabric typically used to wrap sterilized equipment, a team of volunteers is creating thousands of masks.
I trained as a physician to help my fellow mankind.
But how do healthcare workers coming home to their families keep their loved ones safe?
For a minute, I was thinking, I felt scared I'm by myself. And then I'm like, I'm not by myself. My husband's right in the driveway. So he's protecting the house.
Emily Phillips is married to a doctor. She wanted to keep him close without endangering her family's health. So she posted a question on Facebook. Could anyone spare an RV?
I was really, really starting to worry about my family because of what Jason could be bringing in, my husband.
Holly Haggard answered the call.
We had my mom's camper in the shop, and I did consult with her as well. And she said, yeah, let them use it for as long as they need. And no, we're not going to charge anything. Just tell them to pay it forward.
The group RVs for MDs was born.
We have volunteers nationwide, and I say nationwide, it's all throughout the U.S., but we've also got some in Canada and in Australia. We have a guy in Dubai.
3 weeks since that fateful encounter, more than 650 matches have been made.
It's impacted them just as much as it's impacted the person getting the RV. They once felt powerless, and now they have a purpose.
I think it's amazing. It's really seeing the outpouring of things like that.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, guys. Hi, Jason.
We miss you.
Keeping those we care about close, even if it's not exactly how we envisioned. Whether it's a salvage prom night, a virtual graduation, giving your best friend a birthday gift, asking someone out on a date.
You look beautiful!
When faced with a challenge, imagination kicks in, even if it doesn't manifest in ways like 3D printing PPE for doctors and nurses. Many of us are engaging the left side of our brain a bit more these days. Sometimes it's as simple as changing the background on the next conference call.
Creative minds and generous hearts.
All right. Hi, guys. So I want to talk about innovations and inventions with regard to the coronavirus. In both of the class discussions that we've had, people have strong feelings of whether the response is an overreaction, an underreaction, whether COVID-19 is like a flu or whether it's worse than the flu. I'm not really trying to get into that per se. That's up to you guys to figure out on your own. I don't want to tell you what to think. I'm more responding to the fact that the herd is spooked and that there's going to be new ways of doing business if you want to stay in business. And so let's take a look at some of these new ideas. Here's a restaurant. I think I told you I could envision rooms. Okay, so they, rather than just rebuild their restaurant, they came up with these little mini rooms. What are those, greenhouses? I thought that was interesting. Okay, in case you didn't see it, here were the airline seats. Now a sixth grader said, wait a second, there's a problem. How do you evacuate the plane in an emergency? And I think that that's a great, observation. Yeah, don't be in that middle seat or whatever. I mean, you could get stuck in there. I don't know how safe that is. I think that the airline seat, I think there's a better idea than this. We'll have to figure it out later. Here's a drive-in concert. I told you, I think this is going to be the year of the drive-in. I can't wait till the drive-in opens up. I'm going to go see a movie right away. This is the year of the drive-in. They're coming back. And then from that, what can you do? Can you attach a restaurant to the drive-in? Imagine like a Sonic Burger and a drive-in and a this. And, you can, there's ways to make it work. Here's some social distancing hats that the kids in China made. There's some funny, we'll skip all that. Okay, 3D printed mask holders, grocery workers in tents. If you've been to Solberg's, they've got like a little shield, okay? Just shielding people in general. There's going to be a market for shielding people from germs. So if you can come up with new ways of shielding people that in places they haven't thought of, you can do this. Maybe like an Uber, ride sharing, you need a shield for the back. I don't know, something like that. Here's drones providing disinfection. That's pretty cool. Here's drones that take your temperature and issue fines. That's not as cool. Or maybe it is cool. That's up to you. Here's the fashion. We talked about them redesigning clothes. Okay, so my point is, this is just the beginning. There's going to be a lot of different ways to innovate. And if you're on the cusp of, there's a new market demand. And the market demand is less contact surfaces, less germs, less exposure. And if you can embrace that new market demand and supply products to that, then you're going to be okay. You're going to make money and you're going to expand your business. And so I want you to be thinking about that. Now let's watch some new robots.
Robotics are becoming more complex every day. And as we continue to build even more sophisticated machines, we start to reach into some very weird and unique concepts. So without further ado, let's begin the top 7 countdown. Beginning at number 7, the Alfred 2.0. Now, this kind of looks like a walking squid awaiting to pounce on its next meal. The second version of this machine can walk in any direction since it's axisymmetric along the vertical axis, meaning it does not have any official front or back. Its symmetrical lengths can do all sorts of things, including turning itself into a rolling predator or a two-armed menace, which can destroy things. Now, Romola is a laboratory which actually works on this robot, and they are definitely worth following because they always come up with really crazy and strange concepts. We get to number 6, and it's the Kukas Robot. Yes, even though I'm far from being the perfect commentator, there was no mispronunciation this time. This new robot is pretty weird, and it performs 25,000 simulated sitting positions for each new seat design. Obviously, this would be practically impossible for a normal paid employee, and I'm not going to get into too many painstaking details other than it carries a half a gallon of water for sweat supplementation, and that it's made to emulate a larger body form. Anyways, it guarantees that the seat will be effective for over 10 years, which is not too bad. Now here's a good one for you, and it's called the DeanSect. This is a good supplementation if you're looking for a real critter to swat, and this thing weighs less than a gram. The robot uses artificial muscles known as integrated dielectric elastomer polymers, DEAs for short. Each silicon leg uses one DEA, so when a voltage is applied, its electrodes are drawn together and the leg moves. This happens around 400 times per second. and it allows the DeanSec to move forward at 1.2 inches a second, which may not seem too much, but it's actually pretty good for this size of robot. Two versions exist, with one carrying its own onboard power supply, and the one you can actually SWAT at, which is connected to an external source. Now we reach number 4, and we always have to have some sort of reference to the T-1000, so here it is, liquid metal. Maybe we should blame James Cameron for giving people ideas on how to build robots, but then again, this thing is definitely unique. This prototype uses a robot leg, which is made out of a tendon fuse, which can repair itself. It does this by automatically melting itself down, and then reforming into a single piece. The alloy has a very low melting point at 50 degrees Celsius, and the material around it is made of magnets and springs, which can come apart and then snap back together. However, there is one major drawback to this robotic part which can heal itself, and that is that the reunified alloy is 70% weaker after it breaks. Nevertheless, we see a lot of robotics with self-healing polymers and stuff like that, so we're probably going to see more sophisticated self-healing robots in the future. We get to number 3, and it's the Urchin Bot. I was a little bit perplexed when I first seen this because I couldn't really understand what it would be used for. But sea urchins can get into some pretty difficult areas, and this artificial one can mimic its real-life counterpart for inspections. The Urchin Bot has all the fancy spines and feet for locomotion, and it uses pneumatic domes around inflatable joints which are built into the spines. Every pneumatic dome is also interconnected, so you get a weird symmetrical movement of these weird arms. The feet are also controlled by a combination of hydraulics and magnetic pads. Ultimately, this gives the Urchin robot a pretty complex design, but unfortunately you cannot eat it. Now we get to number 2, and it's called the Leonardo. Quite a few weird bipedal robots exist now, but this one just takes it to a whole different level. At 2.5 feet tall, the robot looks like a mini droid. It uses thrusters to balance itself, and that is pretty tricky because any kind of instability would create a large change in momentum. But Leo's pretty light at 6 pounds, and it is actually passing initial tests. I just hope that we don't see some sort of human snatcher one day, but ultimately, I think that jet engines would work well in this situation. We get to the great number 1, and it's the Hermes robot. I personally found this robot to be fascinating since it's bridging human locomotion with robotics. This means that robot avatars are already becoming a reality, and could be used in remote or dangerous environments. Anyways, the Hermes project is now working on a tele robotic system that has 2 parts. One with a humanoid capable of complex actions, and another being a new 2-way type of feedback interface which sends the user's motions to the robot and vice versa. Basically, this means that if the robot steps on debris and starts to lose its balance, the user would actually feel the same instability and can actually prevent it from falling. Essentially, this is bypassing the robot's responses and supercharging it with human reflexes. Now, I find this to be a really important development because, as we all know, robots do not really have very advanced human-like mobility. And taking it one step further, I think that machine learning can be implemented in this type of 2-way communication, and maybe even teach the robot how to move like a human on its own. Ultimately, this is a really exciting development for robotic locomotion, and I really do believe that this is one of the keys for lifelike humanoid robots. So once again, thanks for watching, please like the video if you enjoyed it, and also make sure to subscribe to my channel.